All right, let's see what happens here. This is from page 119 in the 7th grade history text, right? History Alive. All right, we chose this page as a class, and we got this far with it. Number 2, important Jewish leaders, page 119, right? Page, I should put page. Moses, for Abraham, Solomon, and I'm not sure what that last one is. David. What's the 4 mean? Oh, there's four key leaders. There's other leaders, but okay. So Abraham and Moses, right? Abraham. Let's find out something about Abraham. Abraham is called the father of the Jews. Let's just get that right now. Father of the Jews. Oops. Father of the Jews, one central idea of Judaism is the belief in a single God. According to the Torah, Abraham introduced this belief to the Israelites. Okay, so that's a whole bunch. Let's say central idea, one God. Which by the time we get to this part in the book, we'll understand how special that is. Well, this is 7th grade too. Hey, by the time you get through 6th grade, you understand, because we all started with many, many gods, or the idea of one God, many parts, or whatever. Not whatever, you know what I mean. Belief in a single God. Oh, yeah, let's go. Belief, right? Belief systems is part of what makes a civilization. And this father of the Jews, according to the Torah, Abraham, we want Torah, we want Abraham. Introduce this to Israelites, ancestors of the Jews. Israelites, ancestors of the Jews. This is a new idea in the ancient world. At that time, most people worshipped many, and we call it many gods. Oh my gosh. Polytheism. What a blank. Polytheism. Many gods, right? As opposed to monotheism. Theism. That's just me putting my stuff in, right? Making my connections, which you'll be able to do after you've read a little bit of history. According to the Torah, God spoke to Abraham, telling him to move his family from Mesopotamia to Canaan. Mesopotamia to Canaan. Spelling's important, so if you're not sure what you're spelling, go back. It's in the print, right? Later called the land of Israel, which you might know of today. God also promised to make Abraham the father of a great nation and to bless his nation. Abraham did as he was told, and some of his descendants became known as the Jewish people. Okay, promises, great nation, blessings. What do I want to get in here? Promises. A promise. Well, promises, okay? Blessings. Great nation. Descendants. All right, so I think we're done there. Are we ever done? But we're done there. Okay, so let's find out about Moses. Now, when you get post-its, this is where it really goes puzzle piece on you. Let's cover that. Now, we could play puzzle piece, right, and do halves, but let's get this whole paragraph in here. The greatest leader of the Israelites was Moses. Now, greatest? You get to decide that, but a lot of people call him the greatest. Why? Who? Right? The Torah describes, we got the Torah, right? Because that's a couple times that's come up. We really want to know what the Torah is. Torah describes how he led his people out of slavery in Egypt. So, freedom seekers. enslaved in Egypt, Moses told the Israelites that God would lead them to Canaan, right, out of Mesopotamia, to the promised land, right? Remember the promises? Well, one of them was the promised land, which becomes Canaan, or is Canaan, which becomes Israel, right? In exchange for their faithful obedience. Moses also gave Judaism its foundational teachings. Foundational teachings. Foundational teachings. The Torah states that God gave Moses 10 important commandments or laws engraved on 2 stone tablets. 10 laws on 2 stone tablets. These teachings became the basis of Judaism. The books of the Torah are also called the 5 books of Moses. The books. The 5 books of Moses equal the books of the Torah. Cool. All right. Now, if I want to get this caption right, the ancient Jewish leaders, Abraham, Moses at left, David far right, were portrayed in these 13th century statues at the Chartres. Let's go Chartres Cathedral in France. In this way, Christianity honored its Jewish. Oh, right. So we're in a cathedral, right? Christian cathedral. Christian means after Christ or during Christ. Christ is born now. Jewish faith before Christ. And what's it? Abraham and Moses. Got Abraham and Moses. Left, and David. And who's this person? 13th century. Right, that's there. And then let's put that there. So now we've got David and Solomon. Oh, geez, page 119, right? When these get separated, you want to be able to put it back together. And now we're on David and Solomon. David and Solomon. After escaping from Egypt and traveling in the wilderness, the Israelites returned to Canaan. Returned, right? That's where they were originally from. Remember 6th grade? Darius the Great expanded his territory and found them and freed them. All right, I think that's the story. Darius the Great. No, okay, let's not get lost. It was here that they created a united kingdom. Returned to and united their kingdom. During the reigns of King Saul, King David, and King Solomon. So Kings Saul, David, and Solomon. King David established Jerusalem. Established. And the capital, established Jerusalem as a holy city and the capital. Holy capital city. King Solomon built Jerusalem's great first temple. built first temple to the Israelites and later the Jews. The city of Jerusalem and its temple became powerful symbols of their faith in God. You will now learn more about each of these four important leaders. Let's find out what the Hebrew Bible tells about them. Okay, so there's our post-its. I think we got, well, let's do this. We got this little thing. So we got slavery and what? Jerusalem. Let's see what they say. Sorry, I'm not laughing. The treatment of people as property. Okay, property. People as property. Okay, own my dog. I own my car. I don't own my wife. People. Enslaved, right? Jerusalem, the holiest city of the Jews, capital of the ancient kingdoms of Israel and then Judah. That's important. Israel and then Judah. And page 119. Okay, we're going to grab a piece of paper here. Grab a piece of paper. This already has some post-its on it, but that's all right. Okay, so page 119, 7th grade. You just transfer these over. Can't transfer that picture. You all got cell phones, so you can start collecting pictures for your history notes. That's a whole nother thing. Now, post-its or sticky notes get less sticky as you work them. So when I get them onto a page, I like to tape them down with magical tape. Transparent. Tape's pretty. Get them on there. No. Now, this is where sticky notes work, because now I'm trying to make sure I know these notes and this story, right? This is a story that was put together by the book's authors. Here's the story that you're trying to put together and get stuck into your head, right? So important Jewish leaders, Moses, Abraham, Solomon, and David. Cool. They talk about David, father of the Jews, a belief system of the civilization, a belief in one God, according to the Torah. I'm going to go one more time because we need to know more about the Torah. But Abraham, right, he began this. Abraham is the father of the Jews, right? He began the Israelites, these ancestors, this idea of monotheism and polytheism. This is a big change. Big diff, 2 F's, big diff, because polytheism really ruled. Most people believed in many gods. Abraham saying, I've been told there's only one, and I've been promised that we can get from Mesopotamia to Canaan, the promised land, which eventually becomes called Israel. There's many promises. We'll get many blessings. We'll get a great nation, and all of our descendants will benefit. Cool. Then we talked about Moses. He's the greatest leader. We'll have to figure that one out. But he is the one that takes them out of slavery. He brings the freedom seekers out of Egypt and heads them toward the promised land. Oh, do you remember they wandered in the wilderness? But in exchange for their faithful obedience, which involved this, they'd get the promised land. So faithful obedience to what? The foundational teachings, right? The foundation, like houses are built on foundations. Building blocks. You want strong ones at the bottom so that you can build a tower to the sky or something. Foundational teachings it's kind of a stretch, but there's 10 laws that were given to them on 2 stone tablets. They have this story in the 5 books of Moses, which is also what they call the books of the Torah. Then we find out about David and Solomon. They helped the people return to the promised land and unite the kingdom. There's King Saul, David, and Solomon. King David establishes Jerusalem as the holy capital city. King Solomon builds the first temple. There's this picture over here that talks about how Christianity and its foundational roots, right? The Chartres Cathedral in France has the sculptures. Abraham, Moses, somebody, and David. I guess it's, I don't know. Is it, who could it be? Abraham, Moses. Is it Solomon? I don't know. We'll find out. I'll try and find out. And these ideas of slavery, human trafficking, people as property, and Jerusalem as the capital for both Israel and Judah. Yes, that's a page of notes. This is something that you could study and start remembering the story. All right. 16, 15 minutes on a page, 20 minutes of history homework a night. That makes sense to me. Let's talk about it. Okay. Sixth graders, I did that with your pages, 175 and page 177. We'll compare notes on Monday. Seventh graders, I have 2 more pages to do for you. All right. Sixth graders, again, you had page 177 and 175. I'm not going to go over these right now. We just went over page 119 for the seventh graders, and there's a couple more pages I got to do, but I won't record those as videos. All right. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you all soon.